There seems to be a cult, and it has its cult leaders, or I'll say it's the priests of this cult. And that's the cult that can never, ever forget about Xbox, even when they worship PlayStation as a platform. I'm using this kind of a picture because I really want to show the severity of this stuff. Now, a lot of these conversations are tongue in cheek. Those of us that talk about this stuff here, we're the minority. Majority of the gamers are waiting to play Black Ops 6. Some have already pre-ordered. Their girlfriends are going to surprise them for Christmas with a copy. Wives are going to be buying it for their husbands for birthdays. Grandmas are going to be escorting their underage grandsons into GameStops and Walmarts because you need an ID to actually buy Call of Duty, to get them the game. And so that's basically what gaming looks like, believe it or not. So, but most of these conversations don't really span the entire aspect. However, those within the community that, engage in the conversation, it's an interest of ours. We have to actually sit back and sometimes see some of these folk actually throw out some of the most asinine things you ever see in your life. This person is some sort of PlayStation fan that's incurable, probably one of the lower priests. Not going to show their name, not going to grace you with that. They said, yes, economy/inflation are factors, but I believe if Xbox was strong competition, PlayStation likely wouldn't be as brazen and may have had to consider more subsidy/less margin. This is the future we'll have to get used to now, especially as more Xbox games come to PlayStation at a higher cadence. Did I not tell you that these so-called PlayStation fans want Xbox to be competitive according to the way they want Xbox to be competitive? And number two, they want Xbox to be competitive in the way that they would like so that they can buy cheaper PlayStation. They're not concerned about the health of what the competition would bring. Rather, list wars is on their minds. And if you truly actually do like competition, there's a way to actually engage in it. And you'll go in with not only just your words, but you'll go in with your actions. Now, I'm the kind of person where I don't want to be a hypocrite. Yes, I probably have some hypocrisy in me. Hey, it is what it is. We're human, right? However, you got to walk the walk when you talk the talk. And so far, what I'm seeing from a lot of these folk here is, for the most part, they just want to misinform people. And I still see some of you in my comment section also buying into this garbage. Now, I'm not going to call anybody out in today's video. I'm kind of in a good mood. So let's just say, please, let's kind of think very carefully through all of this. This is all I ask of you, is to just think very carefully. Number one, if Xbox was not competition, or if Xbox is not putting up strong competition, why did the former PlayStation CEO run all over the world on the announcement of the acquisition of one publisher? Why did he run all over the world and start talking to all kinds of regulators about how that acquisition was going to harm their business? Number two, if Xbox was not competition, why is PlayStation consistently blocking games that would otherwise go to Xbox from going to Xbox? And if Xbox was not competition, why are some of those previously blocked games now fighting for oxygen and trying to make their way to the Xbox platform? Number four, why are so-called indie developers, whom were once against the notion of putting their games on Xbox, or I guess let's just put it this way, why is one indie developer who made a big noise about not putting their game on Xbox first having to do an about face when apparently rubber meets road and it seems like Xbox has a sufficient number of players that could actually help with their game in terms of sales? You see, you don't need to just listen to what people just say. All you got to do is think, okay, number one, Xbox is not competition. I wonder why GameStop carries majority of, one of the three in terms of this. So GameStop is a game company that focuses on hardware sales and game sales. Now, in their hardware segments, they usually carry one of three or even four hardware segments these days, and PC is also involved. Why do they actually bother with PlayStation and Xbox if they're not competition? Why do they bother who actually buys the front of the store? Those of you that work in GameStop, you know what I'm talking about. If they're not competition. Why did the FTC have to actually chime in when they were about to acquire Activision? And why were all kinds of different parameters pointed to if they're not competition? Once you start asking questions, then it just starts to fall apart, right? Now, if they were not competition, let's now take it to the other side. Let's now move and see what PlayStation was saying, right? If they're not competition, why did PlayStation actually have them in their threat analysis as being industry shifters and those who are going to change the expectation in the industry? Why did PlayStation themselves refer to their Call of Duty acquisition as a threat? Why did PlayStation actually, in their own analysis, talk about how their subscription model is the perfect game subscription model compared to theirs? If they're not competition, why did they say that they had leapfrogged over them? If they were not competition, why did PlayStation conclude that their pillars were out of date and behind the competition? It says it right here. It says it right here. Our pillars are out of date. Sony's pillars are already dated and behind. Repeat after me. The competition. So again, I really don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? If you're not strong competition, how can you then put your competition behind you if your competitiveness is not strong enough? I told you that there seems to be a cult, and there seems to be its priests who continue to try to gaslight everybody. Perhaps it's tongue in cheek and there's no sensibility to it. But at the end of the day, when you evaluate what a lot of these folk are saying, it's a whole bunch of hogwash when you actually take just a slight critical approach to it. Remember how we started out this video? If Xbox had provided strong competition, PlayStation likely couldn't be as brazen and may have had to consider more subsidy, less margin. Hey, from all the questions I've just asked you, I could take that same statement and said, since Xbox is strong competition, PlayStation cannot afford a subsidy business model. Instead, PlayStation has to be in a position where it needs and requires more margin. Am I right? Because this person threw it out on Twitter. And then they thought, oh, we're just all going to just sit there, right? Without looking at any data and any evidence. They just spat it out and they just thought, oh, this is going to fly. And I'm sure it flies for some. But if you read the replies, I'm sure you'll see that people, thank God, there's hope for humanity who don't believe this dross that was put out here. Man, it's so weird. And then, honestly, I'm just enjoying the journey, which is weird because I don't particularly like any of these corporations. Like there's nothing that they offer me as somebody who I'm chilling with Steam, good old games and all that. Not like, they're perfect, platforms, Epic Games, back end, front end, all of the above. Epic Games is more for back end and even, some of the front end stuff because they give out free games. I'm just so shocked that I actually feel the need to look at this and say, this is ridiculous, guys. The reason I jumped into this conversation is because of how ridiculous things are. That's the only reason you see me here. I like fighting games and I like superhero games where we punch bad guys digitally. And here I am looking and saying, nah, someone's got to say something. Plus, it's even crazier now that we're waiting for the next superhero game and hoping that it doesn't become a disappointment or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, man, as God gives us strength and God gives us life, we need to make sure that this nonsense is not going to go unchecked. I don't care if you're an Xbox or a PlayStation fan. I don't care what, platform you prefer to play on. That's none of my business. I see people saying, if you're a PC player, what do you care? I care because I play games too. I play PlayStation games. I play Xbox games. The second biggest platform where you're going to find my playtime in terms of video games, could I even say it's second? It's almost on parity. It's PlayStation and PC. I double dip on most games. MK11, I played on PlayStation, I think almost more than I did on PC. or about the same. I played on 2 accounts, like, my PlayStation, because, you want, it's what they call the Heidi. You go in with your second account. I play on these platforms. What are y'all talking about? So yes, it concerns me. You kidding me? I put money in here. Since the PS4 days, how many PS4 consoles did I go through? 3. So yeah, I'm here. I'm here with y'all. We all in here. Don't tell me why am I talking about this. Don't tell me to shut. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me to shut up. No, that's the worst thing you can do. I'm ready to just have this conversation. We just got to sit here and we just got to talk. That's it. We just got to talk about this. And I just feel like once we get to the point where we're now serious about conversations, it's really going to help us go through and figure out this industry and where it's going. A final thought. There were layoffs today at Microsoft. Support staff. I saw the news articles. You guys know I don't like talking about layoffs. There's a sore spot in there for me. As someone who's been laid off with basically a brand new kid, I know exactly what it means. I was thousands of miles away from home. So I usually don't talk about layoffs. It does because they affect real people. This stuff affects real people. And even the gaming conversations that we have, they affect real people as well. So we can't take this stuff lightly at the end of the day. I feel sorry for those employees who, they lost their jobs. I know some people may have some, different ideas as to whatnot, but you don't know them. You don't know what they're, you don't know, you've not, had them at dinner or the barbecue, whatever it is, you used to get to know people and stuff. So it's sad across the board. And so I just feel like we need to, use a lot of sensibilities when we're talking about these issues, because they really do span a wide range in terms of their effects. Not saying that, what that person said caused a layoff. I'm not saying that. I'm not drawing some correlation. I'm just saying this thing isn't funny. Thanks for watching. Peace out.